Absolutely. All right, I'm here with John Rust, candidate for U.S. Senate. John, I want to get your reaction to the state Supreme Court's ruling. What's your reaction to this ruling, and where do you go from here?
Well, this ruling, I think a lot of people are misinterpreting it. It means I can be challenged for my placement on the ballot. I'm on the ballot today. I'm still on the ballot. They did not take me off the ballot. However, it means that someone can challenge my candidacy now. And so we're going forward with that. I am still hopeful that the Indiana Supreme Court will rule in favor of the 81% of Hoosiers who were banned from running for political office in the state of Indiana. I think that's wrong. And I think the Indiana State Supreme Court will ultimately find in the favor of the 81%.
If they don't ultimately rule in your favor, are you prepared to take this further to the U.S. Supreme Court, perhaps? Where do you go next?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we will take it to the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. This is very important. And there's a lot of election law. The Supreme Court has specifically ruled that you cannot bar association with a political party for more than 1 year. The Indiana statute, because of the two primary rule for people in rural areas, especially like me, that takes me out 4 years to be eligible to run for office. And I believe that the United States Supreme Court will hold that to be unconstitutional.
What's your response to some of the things that Jim Banks has had to say about your prior history of voting in some Democratic primaries, about your residency, about your egg farm, the gouging investigation? Generally, what's your response to his approach towards your candidacy so far?
Well, I think his approach is he can't talk anything good about his record, so he has to throw stones at me. But the stones he's throwing at me are all false. He's talking about my mailbox being 1.5 miles from my house. Jim Banks's mailbox is 580 miles from the state of Indiana. And, he talks about price gouging. My family, we have always worked hard for the consumer to have the best price of eggs in the nation. And it's just, crazy to think otherwise.
If you do end up on the ballot, why do you feel Republicans should choose you to be their nominee instead of Jim Banks?
I think they are looking for an outsider, someone who is not owned by Mitch McConnell and the Washington establishment. Jim Banks refuses to call for Mitch McConnell to resign from Senate leadership. I am challenging him on that right now to join me in calling for Mitch McConnell to resign from Senate leadership. We have to have Republican leaders in Washington who will work for our border, not other borders.
Well, John, thanks for taking a few minutes with us. And I know we'll talk with you again as this process continues to play out in court. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.